I would like to highlight a few problems in the field of school education which are relevant to the policy that the present government may adopt. One thing that one finds is that the government itself very little has come out so far as their policy in the field of school education is concerned. The ministry and the minister seem to be extremely busy with this 3-year or 4-year degree course. But as I said in the my opening remark, there are many articles, many presentations on other, forms of media from which some trends emerge, and an overwhelming trend is that the problems in the field of education would be solved if you open it much more than before for the private sector. Main provisions of the RTA are concerned. They have been implemented, and the focus now should shift on improving the quality of learning and improving the measurement for learning, capacity to learn. So it should shift to pedagogy, syllabus, classroom administration, and so on and so forth. And it is claimed that this can come best from the private sector. Less than 10% of the schools in India are fully compliant with the infrastructural norms of the laid down in the RTA. Even the number of schools that needed to be built have not been built, though the deadline is long over. No mapping has been done as to where schools are required, how many of them are required, even though it is laid down in the RTA. And all these deadlines were April 2013, that all the out of school children should be brought into school, the same deadline, and millions of children are still out of school, and no concern, not even kind of an attempt has been made to assess the magnitude of the problem. The another falsehood that is being perpetrated is that the problem of access is more or less solved. That is also false, because access is measured only in terms of enrollment percentage. And though it is true that enrollment has gone up to 95%, 97% even, but even more than enrollment, whether children are going to school, whether they have access to school, very much depends upon the figures on attendance. And some surveys that have been done on attendance still indicate that this is somewhere in the range of 65 to 75%. And there has not been much improvement since the RTA came into operation. Then we don't take into account the dropout rates. And the dropout rates, according to government statistics, still are about 60%, above 60% at class 10, close to 40% at class 8, and close to 21% at class 5. Coming to quality, the most critical factor which is now being recognized is that of the number of teachers deployed and the quality of the teachers. Now here also no mapping has been done as to the total number of teachers that need to be recruited, or even the vacancies that exist, they run into lakhs and they have not been filled. I mean, according to one figure, I think 5 lakh vacancies exist, and 6.5 lakh teachers are to be still to be trained. There are public institutions which used to train teachers, particularly university departments, and do work on pedagogy, etc. They are on decline. Much is talked about quality, but quality is viewed mainly in terms of some of the tests that have been developed by institutions both nationally and internationally. That is your ability to read, write, and do arithmetic. It is also ignored that quality is not only the function of the number and qualification of and the motivation of teachers, but also several other factors. And one of them is that quality critically depends upon quantity, if one may put it. That is the physical infrastructure, the kind of environment that you have in the classroom, whether you have adequate space for the students, teaching aids. Vast number of the high schools have no functioning laboratory, even though they teach science. And the second thing is that quality is critically dependent on equality. And Western societies learned it almost centuries ago. And I'm quoting a Western scholar who said that he would not like to pursue excellence and equality together, because that is not possible. He will rather pursue excellence through equality. And it has been empirically established that the schools which bring together children from different economic earning groups provide better quality of education than the schools which are for the elites only or for the poor only. Quality also very much depends upon what do you understand by education. Again, if the education is only literacy and numeracy, then there is one way of judging quality. But if you see Delors Commission report, which was the most authoritative report on education published in recent years, which talks about education in the coming century, at that time in the coming century, it talks about purpose of education not only to comprehend, contest, criticize, but also to develop habits of working together, to see interest of your interest in the interest of the others, to build a common citizenship, a citizen concept, to inculcate the values which is universally shared by the nation, which in the case of India are the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution. If you take education in this sense, then it is very difficult to envisage that you can have a real quality education without equality and without state playing a central role in that. Private market can of course lead to an expansion in the number of schools, but market cannot do 2-3 very essential things. One is that it cannot ensure universalization, because market is a random process, it's not a planned process. And what is a fundamental right is available to every citizen from the moment the right is conferred. And there is therefore society cannot tolerate a hiatus or time interregnum for the realization of that right from the time they are guaranteed to the citizen. And that cannot be done by the market. Second thing is that market cannot ensure affordability. And in a country where the vast number of people are poor and cannot afford, market cannot ensure that the vast number of children would really get quality education. And as I said that in most of the societies which is now developed, quality education has been universalized mainly by the state. Finally, I would say that we should definitely protest against the government doing anything which further not only perpetuates the multi-layer system of education, 5-tier system of education, some for the rich, some for the poor, some for this class, some for that class, but really reduces it. And one of them was that Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's announcement in the first year of the UPA 1 government that he will open one model school for each district in India. There is 6,000 model schools, and this will be done through PPP, and you should know that not one of these schools have been opened. Government is still negotiating as to how it can be done through PPP. And this is what the country needs, is that all these schools should be model schools.